the guests to come on saw Papi. And of course, if people who don't know, I am Fight Lounge. You can follow me on IG and Twitter on Fight Lounge. Okay, Halal Ham. He's also gonna be one guest. I sent you. I think Keemstar just said that Gib has a head injury, so I think that's why he's taking all those extra medical tests. I can't listen to the video because I'm doing this, but I believe that's what he said. Uh, Hello, Ham sent you a request so you can chat with us. You recently has joined camp with Saw Poppy, so we would like to hear that. Hey, we want to hear your thoughts on this whole social gloves debacle, the Misfits card. All right, Saw Poppy is here as well. All right, I sent Saw Poppy and Hello Ham a request to speak. Fans want to hear from you guys. I want to hear from you. Saw Poppy, what's good, man?
Yo, what's up, sir? You good?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I have a question, man. Do you know what's going on with this Give and Austin McBroom stuff?
Man, I have no idea, bro. But 2 weeks ago, I was asked by Gabe to spar him, but then
Okay.
it never happened. That's all about it.
Cause again, I'm on here, so I can't listen to the video. But King posted a video on Twitter, and somebody said, "Yo, I think he said Give has a head injury." So maybe that's it. Maybe like, yo, he has to go get checked out. If so, that's something totally different. That's not no medical stuff. That's like, hey, we gotta see if we can actually fight.
hmm No, I'm not sure, man.
Yeah, yeah. It's. I tell you what, man. I was not expecting that today. That's for sure.
Mm.
Um, but but again, man, we're gonna get this interview started for everybody who's in here. Go ahead and share this. Put on Twitter, IG. We got the one and only Solid Poppy in here, and of course, we'll be talking about social gloves too, the status, this whole craziness. But for right now, Solid Poppy, man. Let's let's go ahead and talk from the beginning. Because people see the character. Let's go back. Um, what got you into combat sports?
Well, I started liking boxing maybe when I was like 10 years old back in the Philippines, but I just never had like proper training in that. Mostly street boxing, just with friends. And yeah, man, I've always been into it.
Gotcha. And we have your first opponent, Hello Ham. He's also joined. What's going on, Ham?
Yo, bro, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. Do you have any idea what's going on with Gibb in Austin?
Gib just put the video out now. Do you not see it?
Yeah, I saw his video, but somebody said on Keem's video, because Keemstar posted a video on his Twitter. I think he said that Gibb had a head injury, so that's why they want him to get like medical tests, like to see if he's able to fight or not.
Interesting.
Now I haven't seen Keem's video because I was on here, but that's what somebody said. So if that's the case, then like yeah, if it's a hit, because
I
it's something
hope
totally
not, bro.
different.
I've
Because
already booked tickets.
yeah, man, like if it is a head
Flights,
injury,
yeah.
go ahead and tell us because yeah, this dude because it's pro fight, 10 ounce gloves.
Yeah.
He's in no condition.
Yeah, if it's a head injury, that's serious.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. Um, but yo, but like I said, you tweeted out said that you started camp with Saw Poppy, man. Are you getting back into camp? Do you have a fight coming up, or are you just trying to get back in shape?
Yeah, man. So like, there's like already like a bunch of events. What is happening as in like what's like not been announced and stuff like that. So like I have been like approached etc. to like come up one of these events. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing confirmed in terms of me in terms of fighting, but like I will probably fight again this year. So yeah, so obviously my boy he's got his fight, and I thought and like we were talking about straight after our fight to like let's do a camp together because like we don't live that far,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah man, his coach is good people, bro. So yeah. hopefully fight as soon as possible. But what my aim is to lose a load of weight, and then yeah, man, fight again.
Okay, awesome, man. That's dope. That's dope. You guys former opponents and now train together. That's what this is all about, man.
Yeah, yeah,
Halal Ham
100%,
be
bro.
like Apollo Creed, innit?
Yeah.
Well, okay. So, Pop, let's talk about your upcoming opponent, man. You finally have a confirmed fight against Andy Worski on the
Yes,
Misfits
sir.
event. Speak about it, man.
Um, I don't really know much about Andy Worski, you know. I just
Hmm.
they just gave him to me and then he accepted it. I'm willing to fight anybody. And this guy is the it seems like the brave one, you know.
R.I.P.
I mean, shout out to him for stepping up because, as we know, they look long and hard to find you an opponent. So respect to Andy for stepping into the ring,
Oh, yeah.
man. All right, Keemus has joined. Keem, do you know what's going on with the Gibb and Austin stuff?
Yeah, so I just got off the phone with someone really close to the situation. I obviously can't give my source, but this is about as credible as you can get. Um, Basically, what took place is that you know when fighters are about to have a pro match, they have to have multiple tests done to make sure they're healthy, and all they get the clearance to go ahead and fight and all that. And apparently, Gibbs been doing a test. It came back with some type of head injury, something on the brain. I don't, it could be old blood from an old injury, maybe fresh blood, maybe a fresh injury, something. They go and run another test. In the second test, it looks like, it's healed up a little bit, but it's still there. So, apparently Social Gloves was made aware of this, and that's kind of where we're at. Now Gibb is rushing over to the United States now to have a third test done to see if it can somehow get clearance. But it's doubtful that he'll have clearance in time. So that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, because again, him versus Austin is pro fight, 10-ounce glove. If somebody has a head injury, that's just serious. Like I said, that has to heal up.
Yeah. So I just broke that story literally 8 minutes ago on Twitter. Um, I think I'm the only one that has the information, and I've talked to a couple of credible sources that were giving me a different story that Gibb just didn't show up to his medical test or something like that. So it's like, there's a couple stories floating around, but the one I just told you is by far the most credible.
Because before I started this one on Austin McBroom's IG, he just said, "Come on, Gib, to the real story, to the real story where you need to take those medical tests." That's the latest. I didn't get a chance to listen to your video, but that was the latest one on Austin McBroom's IG. So Austin is saying like there's more to the story.
Yeah, I mean the story that I just put out is the story. That's what's going on, bro. That allegedly, but that's actually what's going on.
I believe it because when it's like exhibition or amateurs, you can use the 16, 18-ounce glove, whatever. But for 10-ounce, it's way more serious, and you can play around with that.
Yeah, I mean you can't have any of these guys going in with an injury like that. I mean,
Yeah,
he could potentially die. Like who the fuck,
yeah.
who the fuck wants to put an Isan Gibb there to potentially die? Like no one, none of his fans, none of his enemies, not even Austin McBroom. Like nobody wants to put a fighter in that situation. And we just had a pro fighter die. What was it, like 2 months ago? A pro fighter passed away down in,
Yeah,
I think, South Africa, right?
yeah, it went viral. It's when this boxer, like the referee split them up, and this boxer turned to an empty corner and started to like punch the air because he thought his opponent there. People was like, "What is he doing? There's nobody there." And that's when they said, "Oh shit, something's wrong." Yeah, that wasn't right.
So yeah, I mean, you know, people say this all the time, like you can die in the sport, and I don't know how many people actually take that serious, but you can. You
Yeah.
actually can, and people have died in the sport of boxing. So, it's a dangerous sport, and if something like this comes up, the show can't go on. I guess the question is right now is who from Happy Punch, because it's got to be one of my guys, and I'm looking at you, Salt Poppy. Who from Happy Punch is going to go in with no notice and take Gibbs' spot?
So Papi will do it.
I'll do it, man.
I know
On,
you'll
on,
do it. I know you'll do it. And I'm about to get on the phone with Austin and be like, how can I save your event? Which one of my
That's a
guys
big
would you like to
opportunity,
fight?
man. Let's get it.
Because he doesn't have an event. He's got to fight somebody.
Yeah.
If Soul Papi fights him, I'll bet
Bah.
100k he wins.
I'm just way bigger than him. I'm sure he doesn't mind, isn't it? I'm heavier.
Yeah, Fight Lounge. Who the fuck what is the weight that Gib and Austin are fighting at? Because I know Austin or Gib has been putting on weight, so I know it's got to be a little heavier than the normal Gib.
I don't even know because I talked to Leon, who's one of his coaches, and he couldn't tell me. Like
It
he
has to
doesn't
be
even know.
180. It has to be 180.
That's what that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking.
Everybody fights at fucking 180. It's like everybody, like literally everybody. And Soul Poppy, you're training right now for 185, right?
Yes, sir.
So we're close. I mean, we're just.
If you be honest, yeah, he could fight him because 180 is 81 kg. So Papi's like 84.
Everybody spam Austin McBroom on Twitter right now. Be like, fight Saul Poppy, fight Saul Poppy, fight Saul Poppy. I swear to God, everybody. I want to see you. I know who's in this room. I can see you. Oshi, William, Rob. I better see tweets from everybody. Tweet at Austin McBroom right now saying, fight Salt Poppy. All right, let's
Get it,
get this
man.
shit going.
Get it.
Let's get this
Hey,
shit going.
hey, I mean, is that or nothing, or else you're gonna have to push the event back?
I
I don't
mean,
think you can. There's too many people on the. Yeah, there's too many like big names on that card to then push it back.
yeah, I mean, as far as pushing it back, like we really got to think about that. There's like celebrities and shit, bro. They all have schedules, right? You got Blueface on there. There's just so many different celebrities that are on that card. Like, shit, they could be going on tour like next month. They might not be able to do a postpone.
Yeah, I agree. So like like again, and I think Austin even said it. Austin's team said, "Yo, get a replacement," but he was like, "Well, I won't fight Gibb." People forget Gibb versus Austin was originally supposed to be on Showstar, and that was supposed to be announced on December 2020, and then Austin didn't want to fight on Showstar, which in hindsight, right decision. So this fight's been going on for then, and so
You know why I'm sad, Fight Lounge? I'll
what's
tell you
that?
why I'm sad is because going into this fight when it was first announced, I'm like Austin McBroom was going to win. People don't understand how good Austin McBroom is. But then over the last couple weeks, I've been like, Gib might be able to take this, and like
Yeah,
I'm at a spot right now where I think I might be more excited than this fight than other ones that are going on this year. Like I really, really, really am pumped at the idea of Gibb versus Austin McBroom because I don't really know the outcome. We have amazing lightning footwork from Austin McBroom going up against the Tasmanian fucking devil, the Energizer Bunny, the nonstop endurance of a Nissan Gibb. I mean, how does that play out? It's so fucking interesting. I was just saying this to I did a face off with Saul Poppy and Andy Worski, and I said in this fight, you got boxing skill versus incredible strength. These two things, how do they play out? I mean, if you want to get real nerdy with it, right? But like something like Magic the Gathering, where you're putting these different fucking spells and matching up these different components and see how they win in a battle. I mean, it's the same thing in these two boxing matches with Saul Poppy, Andy Worski, and Nissan Gibb versus Austin McBroom, and I can't wait to see how it all pans out.
I agree. I think Gibb versus Austin, the 50-50 fight, was also an important fight because Austin beats Gibb, he wants a KSI fight. So I think that's why it's not just that fight itself; it's the outcome that's
You
also
know what else
important.
though? You know what
What's
else
that?
though? No one thinks this is reality, but I do. if Anisan Gibbs beats Austin McBroom, then Gibb by default has to fight KSI. And everyone says that'll never happen. I think it does. I think it does. I think Anisan Gibb and KSI have enough respect for fucking boxing to box each other. I think they fucking love the shit, and they'll get in the ring and square up if Gibb beats Austin McBroom. That's the only way
I,
that happens.
I can see it.
I
That's
don't
what
think it will
tough.
happen.
Oh,
As
why
in,
not?
like, let me tell you why I don't think that will happen. Okay, yeah. As in, I just think, yeah, anyone who's gonna fight KSI will be scared because, like, all right, let's talk about Joella. Okay, yeah. After Joella lost against KSI, no one in the UK scene now, yeah, really cares about him. As in, like, before, yeah, everyone used to dick ride Joella, yeah. As in, like, he's a cool guy, yeah. That's one of my friends, yeah. But like in the UK scene, everyone used to dick ride Joella. But then when the Joella v KSI fight happened, everyone's obviously going to turn to KSI because everyone wants to dick ride KSI. I
Gibb is
think
not going to
people
say
are going to be scared
no.
of that.
Gibb is not going to say no for an opportunity to fight KSI. One, YouTube boxing is his career, is his life. All right.
Yeah,
This would be one of the greatest opportunities for him. He's going to make the most money he's ever made. And we got to remember, Gibb got beaten in an embarrassing fashion to Jake Paul. And
Yeah,
that
fair,
didn't end
fair.
his career. But I understand that this is like a UK versus UK type thing, more similar
Yeah.
to the you know. So I don't know. I think it actually does happen. And I think at the outcome of that fight, it's hugs, and I think the fans love them both.
yeah. Every time you fight somebody, you don't have to have a beef. Sometimes you're gonna be like, hey, the best fighting the best. And if Giff beats Austin, then Gibbs literally top two, top three YouTube boxers. So him versus KSI would literally be the best versus the best. Um,
I had a source telling me that that Jake Paul was showing up to KSI versus Alex Wasabi,
yeah,
and and
yeah,
that and that Jake Paul is going to be cornering Alex Wasabi, and then Jake Paul's promotional company MVP starts tweeting at me like, "Oh yeah, and I heard Mike Tyson was going to be cornering KSI," and I'm like, "Well, Jake Paul supports all his fighters. Are you telling me that he's not going to be like coming there and supporting Alex Wasabi?" And I think it was crickets from them. But I have a very, very reliable source telling me that Jake Paul is going to be there. And what I think is happening is I think it's true. I really do believe that that was the plan. And now it's ruined. Like the surprise is gone because I've leaked that story and that story got out. And by the way, I'm not the only one that heard that. There are a couple other outlets, if you look online, that also heard this shit. So I think they're capping. I think the intention was for Jake Paul to show up and help Alex Wasabi to kind of like fuck with KSI during that match.
yeah. And again, I think Drake's running the most foul promotions, IG and Twitter. I personally, I think so. I think Drake is just trolling. He's just, just talking shit. But yeah, that was interesting just to have Jake there. Do you think by chance, again, I'm throwing out there since Al Sabi is being advised by MVP, he's not signed. Do you think Jake is there? All the tension won't be on Alex. Look what happened with Showstar. He's getting chased out the hotels, getting eggs thrown out. All that negative shit will go straight to Drake. So you think Drake would kind of take the heat off Alex? Think that's a possibility?
Um, what do you mean? Like the audience heat? What do you
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah. I think like if it's Jake at the weigh-ins, Alex is gonna be booed, of course.
Yeah,
But
no, yeah. If Jake's there, yeah, the fans are just gonna throw shit at Jake. Like,
yeah,
no one's gonna care about Alex. As in, like, when Jake came to the UK last year for the for KSI Logan One, literally, yeah, I was there at the press conference. Obviously, yeah, I was fighting there. There was thousands and thousands of fans, yeah, chasing them, as in like chasing to like throw shit at them, like Obviously,
Paint
you've all seen the
cans.
videos.
It was
It's
fucking.
crazy.
It was gallon paint cans they were throwing at the fucking Pauls. Remember, Greg Paul was running through the streets of fucking Manchester like it was Vietnam.
Yeah.
Remember that footage? He's like, "We're the
Oh yeah.
boys. Get down, get down. We got Charlie on the left. They're coming over the hill. Paint cans, duck, duck, boys,
Yeah.
duck."
Yeah, but like, do you think Jake? Of course, Jake wants the spotlight. He wants to be there because everybody thinks if KSI beats Al Wasabi, which I think is going to happen, then Jake's there. They can do face off in the ring. You know, that's why I think ultimately if Jake's there and Alex beats KSI, Jake's going to celebrate and rub in KSI's face. But if KSI beats Wasabi, boom, they can do a face off in the ring. That's what I think is going to happen.
No. You don't understand. The whole reason why Alex Wasabi got taken under the wing of Jake Paul and MVP is so Jake Paul never has to fight KSI. Because if Alex Wasabi beats KSI, Jake never even has to fight JJ. He doesn't
No.
even have to fight him. It's done. It's over with. You got beaten by Alex Wasabi. You suck, pretty much. That's how it goes.
Especially if Jake beats Steve Rodman Jr., Jake can say, "Hey, I'm fighting pro boxers now. I'm fighting pro athletes. I ain't going back to YouTube or YouTubers, I should say."
You think that fight's legit? Just, I mean, look, dude, I hate to, like, I have nothing, right? I'm going on nothing, absolutely fucking nothing. I don't have a shred of evidence, but just looking at it, it's like this guy should be able to beat Jake Paul. He really
I
should be
agree.
able to beat Jake Paul. If
I
I
agree.
go in there and I see like a second round knockout from Jake Paul, I'm gonna be like scratching my head, like, was this real? Did somebody get paid off? I'm sorry. I'm gonna think that way. And I think a lot of other people are gonna think that way. And that's why Jake never gets the respect that he deserves, is because everyone's looking at all these fights saying, that doesn't
I
seem real.
with Hakeem Rodman, and again, I interviewed him in the past before I was on Twitter Space when I was doing Stereo app. You know, I interviewed him earlier this year on here when he fought Thompson Morrison's son, the one he got stopped. So I'm happy for the opportunity he has. But when they picked him for Madison Square Garden main event, I was puzzled. I was like, I'm
Yeah,
happy
same.
for him. I was happy he's getting the bag, he's getting opportunity. But I was like, and it was like what 6 weeks build. I was like, how is this going to sell Madison Square Garden? The big room, not the little room. There's two different rooms in Madison Square Garden. The Amanda K. Taylor is the big room, but then there's a small room. And I was like, okay, maybe Jake versus Hakeem in the small room, but no, it's still in the big room. So I don't know. I'm puzzled by that matchmaking.
Yeah, but who wins? Who wins? Just on face value, who wins?
Oh, I got
Jake.
Hakeem.
I
I
think it's
have
gonna be
Hakeem.
Jake. I think Jake's too smart to not have an easy win for him.
I've seen like again. If King's right, like if Jake, it took how many rounds to knock out Woodley, and if Jake knocks out a pro heavyweight boxer in like less than 4 rounds, people will raise an eyebrow to it.
Fight Lounge, I'm with you 100%. I think Hassan wins. I
Yeah,
really do. I
yeah.
really do.
But
But
I think he should win, yeah. But I don't think it's gonna happen. I think he should win, yeah. But like what you said, yeah. It hypothetically, it might be fixed. You know what I mean? As in,
that's what
like,
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Okay, if you asked me to put down $100,000 bet, right? I would say Jake Paul's going to win. But I'm not putting down any money, so I'm just saying at face value, if everything's on the up and up, Hakeem should win. He should win. He should win.
Yeah,
He should win. And
absolutely. He should.
here's one thing: has Jake Paul ever fought an opponent that's taller than him?
No,
Never. Like that.
no.
There's a lot to this, bro. Like I'm telling you, this is just a weird, strange thing. Like either something isn't right, or Jake's ego got the best of him, and now he's really starting to believe the persona that he's built for himself. Something's not right here. It just something feels off. I don't know.
Well, I actually try to get Hakeem's brother on here because he's also a pro boxer. So that might happen in the upcoming weeks. We might, be able to talk to him because he's coming from a family. But again, I seen he's a heavyweight. He's a legit heavyweight. He's coming from a boxing family. His father, literally the former heavyweight champion. Yeah, on paper, I should say he should win. But Well, we'll see. The only thing I can say is he got stopped in his last fight, which was in April. Maybe they see that he's vulnerable. Maybe.
All I know is Jake Paul is the greatest boxing promoter of all time. The absolute best. Like, literally every single day, Happy Punch has a story on fucking Jake Paul. And I fucking yell at Alex, who's in here listening, fucking covering all this shit. I'm like, Alex, cover something other than fucking Jake Paul. But Jake Paul is out there making fucking news every single fucking day. Jake
Yep.
Paul's out there fucking doing his job, selling fucking tickets, making a fucking news headline every single fucking day. He is the absolute best at this fucking shit. There is nobody better.
Right. Well, King, if you will, my switch topics, we have your fighter, Saul Papi. He's fighting on Misfits. Let's talk about Saul Papi's fight in a whole Misfits card, which is the Happy Punch takeover.
Say that again.
Oh, I want King to talk about your
Oh,
fight. You're a Happy Punch fighter to talk about your fight, and I want King to talk about the Misfits card. It is the Happy Punch takeover. Out of the
Yeah, I
seven
mean, how
fights,
many fights are in the card? There's 7, right?
yep, seven, and the only
Happy
fight
Punch Happy Punch
has
has
five.
5 fighters. So
Yeah,
on
yeah.
five of the fights, we have a representative. 2 of them we don't. So yeah, I couldn't be more happy than that. Misfits Boxing, fucking great organization. They're putting together a legit, really fucking great show. They understand, like Happy Punch understands that. Look, there is this YouTube boxing community, but there are other people online that want to get involved in YouTube boxing or social media or influencer boxing, whatever word you want to put on it, that will just expand this community even more. And they've kind of adopted the same strategies that we've had with bringing in guys like Sam Hyde or there's all different types of people. To make this bigger. I forgot my original point. But one thing is true. Salt Poppy will fight anyone. Will fight
Facts.
fucking anyone. Literally anyone. I hit up Salt Poppy and I said, as soon as he signed up to Happy Punch, I'm like, all right, I'm going to find you an opponent. I'm going to make sure you get put on a very, very big card. That's what I'm going to do for you, Salt Poppy. I go, Salt Poppy, text me the name of a few fighters that you'd like to fight. He sent me a list of like 65 fighters. Like it was everybody, like literally everybody. he he said, set me up a match with anybody. I'm down. And that's why we love Soul Poppy. But unfortunately, Soul Poppy wasn't getting the same respect from everyone else because no one seems to want to fight him. Finding him an opponent is really hard, and I think people understand after watching his first fight that the kid has immense boxing skill. So I'm excited to see that displayed on August 27th versus Andy Worski, the only guy that had enough balls to step in the ring with Soul Poppy.
I tried to get Andy on here so we can get a little back and forth, but people just aren't familiar with him. But I think we might do it next week. But King, if explain to people who don't know who Andy is, like, 'cause people like, who's Andy? Who's they was telling me, and I was like, hey man, one of these cards get announced the first time I'm, understands people. Isn't he from the commentator side of YouTube?
Yeah, so Andy Swirsky was kind of like I don't know, maybe political troll type of content creator, like very edgy, a lot of going up on a live stream against, another guy similar than him and arguing back and forth. Um, you know, Kind of had a bad run in with drugs and alcohol and saying horrible stuff online. About 2 years ago, now no, close to 3 years ago, he got challenged from somebody in his community for an MMA fight. So he got off of drugs, cleaned up his act, stopped saying this edgy, horrible stuff, and just really focused on training for this fight. He shows up, and this is like an actual like pay-per-view type event. I forget who put it on. He shows up all ready to go. His opponent bailed out in the last second. Didn't show up to the arena to fight him. So the fight couldn't go forward. That whole time, like he got addicted to training and exercise and all that, stayed off the drugs, cleaned up his act. And then he got challenged from another person in his community, a guy named Ralph, to fight. So, he went back to training hard, getting in shape. That guy backed out. So I've kind of seen this happen over the course of 3 years of this guy working his ass off, cleaning his act up, but not getting an opportunity to fight. So I just, when it came down to it and we couldn't find somebody for Salt, I did have Andy Worski on the backup for a card in October. And I said, fuck it. Let's give Andy the opportunity. And he couldn't be more excited and happy about it. But he currently live streams to about, I want to say like 3,000, maybe 4,000 people, like a couple days during the week. He has a podcast. Yeah, him and his fans and his community are very excited.
Oh, hell yeah, he was excited. He leaked the whole info.
Yeah,
He
the
was
stupid motherfucker. So dumb.
But you know what? But like I know from behind the scenes, I know you guys hated it, but for me as a fan and seeing that thing, dog, he was so happy. His friend who did the co-host, he was happy for him. So he sees this as a huge opportunity, and I can already tell he's gonna put 100% effort.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, what happened to Andy Worski with these two other fights that got canceled on him was just tragic, and it was tragic to his community. So it's like when you see something like that, I knew I could pull the strings and give the kid an opportunity. So I went for it, got all the clearances, and made it happen for him. Now, granted, we are throwing Andy Worski to the wolves because Saul Papi is going to slaughter gonna slaughter him, but at least he has the opportunity to showcase whatever skills
I,
he has.
yeah, I mean, because kind of like you said, like he has 3,000 on his live streams. After the fight, the build up, he'll have more fans. So this is just a plus for him.
Yeah, I talked to Andy Worski in private. I said, listen, I personally think you're losing this, but look, even if you do lose this, it's a way to get your name out there and be a part of this social media boxing stuff because this is what he wants to do. We've seen a couple of these guys like a Nissan Gibb, just like they don't make YouTube videos anymore. They only do social media boxing. Like that is it. That is their form of content creation. And Andy Worski is one of these characters that would really like that to be his career, just like Gibb.
Gotcha. Another person who again, Soft Poppy is the second fighter signed the Hack Punch. The person I'm most happy for is Dean. Dean was the first Dean was the first fighter signed the Hack Punch, and he's been waiting for like a whole year to see him finally have an opportunity. I'm very happy for him.
Yeah, we're excited to see Dean the Great. When I talk to the experts behind the scene, they always want to have a conversation about Dean. Shout out to Fousey. Fousey called me well over a year ago when we were launching Happy Punch. Happy Punch is obviously a social media boxing brand where we cover, the news and stuff going on in social media boxing. And Fousey hit me with a crazy idea. He said, there is this kid, his entire YouTube channel is surrounded about boxing. Like he literally has fan meetups, and at the fan meetups, his fans throw on gloves and box each other. He shows me this one video, and the police come to break up, one of these boxing matches in a parking lot, and the cop actually put on gloves and sparred with Dean. And I'm like, oh my fucking God, this is what social media boxing needs. They need a guy like Dean. So me and Fousey decided to like kind of bring him under the Happy Punch brand and make sure, he had some type of opportunity in this space. And we started promoting him and whatnot. And finally, a year later, we're at an opportunity where Dean's actually getting a shot to show his skills, and we couldn't be more happy because he's perfect for this world. And as soon as the social media boxing fans see who Dean the Great is, you're gonna love the fucking kid. He's absolutely great.
Absolutely, and credit for even he. Damn, I can talk today. Credit to every hero for stepping up, and this will be his third fight in front of a crowd.
We had the same problem with Dean. We can't find an opponent for him. We can't find anybody to fight him. And so Evil Hero, I know not too many people in this community, on Twitter and whatnot and YouTube know who Evil Hero is because his popularity comes from TikTok. But he did have two matches. He had a match on the Blueface bare knuckle undercard, and then he did do a match with like one of the celebrity boxing things recently. Actually, it was the one with who's the Black China. He
Yep,
was on the
yep.
he was on the Black China undercard, and so we hit up Evil Hero and we're like, hey, look, man, you want to get on a real card? You want to get a card that's actually like hitting the mainstream? And he goes, he was all for it. He's all for it. And in that scenario, I think Dean's winning as well, obviously. And I'm not just supporting my guys. I think that's my honest prediction. But mad respect to Evil Hero for stepping up. And you never know. You never know. Anything can happen in a boxing match.
That's the one thing I want to like that fight is yes, Dean has the skill, but Hero has the experience. This will be his third fight in front of a crowd, so I know it's only 3 fights, but yeah, compared to Dean, he's more experienced in front of 1,000 people and millions of people watching online. So, of course, I'm gonna have Dean win, but we'll see how Dean steps up on the main stage.
Absolutely. And then, of course, we got Sam Hyde out of the darkness, out of his cave, the Candyman, like into, there's this whole controversy where Sam Hyde gets banned from the iDubbbz event. And, of course, he's like too edgy, according to iDubbbz, the edgelord himself. But, Sam is too edgy. These documentaries that went on between him and iDubbbz, the controversy of him getting banned. You had Brandon Buckingham coming out with that interviewing Dr. Mike, where Dr. Mike was like, I don't know why Sam was banned. Like, it's been this whole thing. And it's like, when you have a story that big about, a guy that's banned and not allowed to be a part of it, me, a guy like me is a natural promoter is just going to pour gasoline on that story and bring him out of the darkness. And that's exactly what's happening. August 27th, we're going to see over 500 pounds of two heavyweights facing each other in the. It's going to be absolutely sick. The only heavyweight match I can even think of with us having in social media boxing that anybody saw was Harley on iDubbbz event. That's it.
Yeah.
And even though there was no skill in that whatsoever, that was awesome to watch. People love heavyweights. And we're finally going to see that on August 27th with this legendary character, Sam Hyde.
And the thing with his opponent, Thompson, I seen him before. Go to IG. He's playing like the violin or some instruments with some IG models. But like I recently saw Thompson in gym. He's a big boy. Like it's gonna be a heavyweight clash between those two.
Here's the thing, Thompson is athletic. Like, you just look at the guy and he is athletic as hell. He's got these monster thighs. Like, in you know, that really helps in boxing. That's where a lot of strength from the punches come from, is from the legs.
Hmm.
He's a very athletic dude. And then you just look at Sam Hyde and he's just like a monster. He's like a creature. So, it's like man versus creature. I can't wait to see how this one pans out.
Yeah, that one's definitely gonna be a sleeper. I think because like this community, isn't familiar with Sam Hyde or not definitely not familiar with Thompson. After seeing Thompson, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a barn burner. Like two legit heavyweights just slugging it out. Like I'm hyped for that event.
But Fight Lunch, we got to talk about respect, right? So respect to
Hmm.
Evil Hero, fighting Dean. Respect to Andy Worski for fighting Saul Papi. But let's talk about the respect of King Kenny. Okay,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
this. How much respect do we have to give King Kenny to agree to fight FaZe Sensei? Y'all might not know this, right? Because Sensei's like, he was kind of in the mainstream, when he was coming up with FaZe and whatnot, and then he kind of disappeared, and then he kind of popped up into the mainstream again when he was training KSI to fight Logan Paul. But Sensei's been pretty low key. He's just stayed in his own like fighting lane, and I don't know if Sensei really has made it to the social media boxing audience as a whole yet. I think there is definitely a portion that knows who Sensei is and understands how deadly FaZe Sensei is as a fighter. But during the first Logan Paul versus KSI, FaZe Sensei was on the card and nobody would fight him.
yep.
Nobody would fight him. Overt volunteered to fight him and got his ass whooped. Like, Sensei is good. And the fact that King Kenny, coming off of that loss with FaZe temper, says, okay, you know who I want to fight? I want to fight another FaZe member. I'll fight FaZe Sensei. Is the guy crazy, or has he learned an immense amount since his last match? And we all know that King Kenny is a fast learner, because you remember in the later rounds with Temper, he starts throwing those wild punches. Like, he learned right away, like, his technique was not moving. He had to come from the side and, get a little wild to fuck up Temper. Has King Kenny learned enough in just a couple months here to face a guy like Sensei? I don't know.
What's funny is Face Sensei said it on his and Wade's podcast that like he wants a war. He said, "I want me and Kincaid to both bleed." So technically, gonna be out the window. This is gonna be a slugfest. Like he said, Craig Clash inspired him because there was some wars on that card. He said that's why me and Kenny wins. So again, shout out to Kenny, but I cannot wait. That's my pick for Friday night.
Oh my God, that's going to be the best. In my opinion, that's the best fight of the night. And
Yeah, I'm
you know
excited
what
for that.
Sensei said also? And I thought it was great. He goes, look, this is probably like the last time I'm going to get an opportunity like this. I'm getting older, so I'm just going to go for it. Fuck yeah, go for it, bro. I want to see a fucking knockout, bro. Fuck yeah, dude. Yeah.
And what better way to go out with a bang? For Face Sensei, if that's the last one, what better way to go with a bang than a walk off knockout?
And then next up on the list, and I don't even have to make this point because everyone knows, right? Fousey versus Deji.
Oh
Both of
man.
them are just walking around with L's, man. Fousey had that match. He lost in such a horrible way. Deji has lost every match that he's ever done. One of them is walking away with a fucking W. If you do take two L's, like make two L's with your hands and you put them together, it does make a W. So two L's coming together actually create a fucking W. And that's exactly what's happening in this fucking match. And I couldn't be more happy for Fousey. Dude, Fousey's just been focusing on this shit. He's been kind of irrelevant as far as making content because he's been focusing on this social media boxing stuff, the happy punch stuff. And he uploaded a video the other day. I don't know if anyone's seen this. He uploaded it on TikTok and it got 20 million fucking views. There was a guy hitting him with a billy club in the stomach, getting ready and getting that strength and conditioning up for this boxing match coming up. And he took it like a champ, pulling 20 million fucking views. It was just insane shit coming out of fucking Fousey. Now, I haven't heard shit about Deji. I haven't heard a thing from Deji. Have you heard anything from Deji?
I've been sparring him.
Oh, so exclusive.
Yeah. He's I can't really talk much, but he's strong. He's very strong.
I will say this.
And he's in
KSI,
shape. He's in very good shape. He's in very good shape.
KSI said he was working with Deji, and Deji's doing good. I mean, that's all JJ said, but that's all I'm hearing. I haven't seen him. No one's seen Deji.
I'm excited. I'm really hyped for Fousey versus Deji. Because like I said, someone's O has to go. Hopefully no draws. But hopefully someone come up with a W. But I think this is gonna be again, Deji and Fousey has history, so boom storyline wise. But look at Fousey, he's shredded and he's focused, he's dedicated. This fight is going to, and again, this is like the third fight from the main event, so it's gonna be extremely hyped. This whole card is that. This whole card is just great.
I'm gonna be honest. You've seen Fousey's first fight. Fousey could take a punch. Fousey
Yes.
ain't going down. He's just not gonna go down. He might lose. He could technically lose and get outboxed by Deji. Sure, that could happen. But I don't care how strong Deji is. He's not knocking out Fousey. He just fucking takes shit. He just does. Like, the kid lives in a fucking state of pain his entire life. He's always dealing with shit, bro. I'm telling you, he's gonna take it. He's not gonna fucking sleep.
I agree. Yo, Wade, we just talking about the Face Sensei fight, man. How sorry are you for him versus King Candy?
Bro, I'm excited. I'm excited for the entire card. I'll just say that I'm taking some time out of the office today to do some fun stuff around this card, actually, right now. So, yeah, I'm excited, man. I heard you guys talking about Sensei. Let's just say I've seen some stuff he's been working on. It's brutal, man. It's going to be a fun fight, though.
Absolutely. Somebody DM me and said Austin McBroom confirmed that Gibb do have a head injury. So he's coming
Yeah,
to.
he said that in an Instagram video.
Oh, okay, so
Wait,
wow, so that
Austin
is
just
true.
said that now?
Yep.
See, told you.
Confirmed your story, Keem.
Told you. Told you. All these motherfuckers always want to respond to my tweets being like, yeah, right. What's your source? Well, it's confirmed now. Fuck off.
So do I have it right here that we're gonna have to get a full medical again when Gibbs in LA or wherever he's gonna be just to confirm this, or what are we dealing with?
Well, Gibb is coming to take another test, and
Right.
hopefully there's been enough healing that the show can still go on. Because
Well, here's the
between
thing too. I don't mean to cut you off, Keem. Here's the thing too. With the California Commission, from what I understand, they're pretty wary of YouTube boxing to begin with, and I've heard a couple people using that line of Jake Paul saying he had CTE when it's not diagnosable in a living human being to, I guess, push a lot of head injury issues and already the amateur aspect of this scene. So I don't know how serious this thing is. And obviously, Keem, you got people, I'm sure you know more about this, but from what I understand, that the commission is already a little wary. So that Gibb having mentioned a head injury is probably something that's throwing them back a little bit and being like, do we really want to sanction this thing, you know?
Yeah, I mean, what you said, Wade, is 100% true. Like, guys, like, just understand that this fight is not in London, it's not in Manchester, and it's not in Florida. It's not in the state of Florida. We are talking about California, all right? It's way harder to put a fight together in California than it is anywhere else in the world, probably.
It's liberal central over there.
I would say let's see how this next medical goes. I mean, fight week medicals are pretty standard practice, but obviously something came up or something happened in Gibbs medicals already. So let's hope that, like Keem said, it's not as serious as it sounds, because obviously no one wants Gibb walking in with any kind of issues that are that debilitating. Like, this will be the first time in our scene that we're seeing the real dangers and stuff like that. But it's pretty, it's the fight game, and it's unfortunate. But I would say let's hold off on condemning this thing just yet. And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But Gibbs' safety, obviously, the hard work Austin put in, that's brutal for him, and I hope they get a replacement if that is to be the case. But I don't know. Let's see how
Everything
this
I'm
medical
hearing,
goes.
everything I'm hearing is basically like, if this goes forward, it's going to be a miracle type of stuff. Like,
I just want to know what the severity of what they're talking about is. I keep hearing brain injury, but I'm not hearing exactly what.
I mean, I'm not a doctor, so I'm going to give you like really
Right.
layman's term shit, how it was explained to me. But basically, there's some type of scan that you do, MRI, CAT scan. I don't know what the fuck it is, right? They're looking at your brain and they see something that kind of looks like, blood, like bleeding of the brain or something.
Right.
Could be an old injury, could be dried up blood, could be something new. There's one test taken, and it brings up some red flags.
Could potentially not be blood as well, correct?
Right. We're not doctors, so none of us fucking know, right?
And
But they take a second test, and from test 1 to test 2, some healing has taken place.
Right. So it's basically what we're looking at is a confirmation test just to get a good idea of what we're dealing with. And like I said, that is where we probably just need to, like I said, just let it play out. Like, Keem's doing a good job of keeping things up to date and giving people, a reason to say, hey, listen, I want to make sure these fighters are safe. Again, it's a pro fight. It's a different ball game, guys,
And there's precedence for stuff like this. I was reporting on a fight a couple of years ago here in Dublin. Bellator had a big main event. It was a guy called James Gallagher against a guy called Cal Eleanor, and Cal was pulled out of the fight because he had a similar, what I would imagine was a similar brain injury to what Gibb is suffering now. He goes and gets a second opinion. Now, the doctor told him it's so bad. Obviously, this is a different situation, so this is not necessarily what's happening with Gibb, but the doctors told him it's so bad you can't ever fight again. It's not just you have to pull out of this one. And then he went and got a second opinion. Turned out it was like you were saying, Wade, it was not necessary. It was the scan came out wrong or something, and turned out he was actually fully fit to fight, and he's fought loads of times since, and he's completely fine.
And that's the thing too, is like, this is why you do your second follow-up, right? This is why you have your fight week physical. You have a camp physical and you have a fight week physical, and this is exactly why. So this could be, like you said, it could be dangerous stuff, but it also could just be specifically that the MRI machine messed up, or a CAT scan had a little flick on it that looked like something that it wasn't, or whatever. So let's see what this
Yeah, but let me
last
ask you a
physical looks like.
question, Wade. Wade,
Sure.
let me ask you a question. All right. If, right, in this third test everything is fine and there's a good chance that everything's fine, right?
Yeah.
Why does Austin McBroom release the story now? Like, what is the benefit, right? This is going to
I
hurt
think to get ahead
pay-per-view
of it.
tickets.
I
This
think.
is
Oh
going to
no, it'll
hurt pay.
hurt for sure. But if I done his promotion,
Yeah, but
but if he doesn't say anything and it comes out, then obviously I think it's a little bit worse for the wearer, because if you knew and you didn't say anything and then the event canceled the day before or 2 days before, that's obviously really damaging for people that bought tickets, flights, the whole thing, right? So I don't mind him getting in
I
front of the
don't know.
story. I want to have like that last test and fight week physicals done just to make sure. But I don't mind him getting out in front of it. It just seemed a little odd when he talked about it.
By the way, speaking of flights, literally 2 hours before Austin put this video out, my company booked flights and
See what I'm
hotels for
talking
me to go
about?
cover
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. I booked
Completely
flights as
heartbroken.
well. I booked
Oh,
That's
flights.
the tough
stop,
part.
bro.
Yo,
Anybody want to buy half price flights?
I was supposed to go to LA to do a face off with Gib in Austin, and I picked to do it on Zoom. I was like, fuck it, I'd rather do it on Zoom, because it doesn't really matter that much that I'm there or not. And I'm glad that I did.
Definitely, man. Like, again, so like I said, I couldn't watch the Austin video because I was on here, but people DM me. Austin said like he want to give himself to say, hey, it's a head injury. I have to go to LA. So Austin said, hey, since you didn't want to say the reason why it's a head injury, you have to go see, you know, a head doctor. I don't know the name. And so the post has been unfortunately deleted. I haven't got a chance to watch it, but that's basically what Austin said. Austin wanted to give himself to say, yo, it's a head injury, even if Gib didn't.
So there you go. Story confirmed. Head injury
Hey,
of some sorts.
King has been on fire with his sources, man. Ever since Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury won that story, King has been on fire
No,
with his
that's just when you
sources.
started paying attention to me. We've been doing this shit for years, buddy. No, I
By the
mean,
way,
I
legitimately, Keem, you are the gold standard for this stuff. I know that you get an unbelievable amount of bad press throughout the YouTube community, but coming from a journalist in this space and all of that, you are absolutely above and beyond. And I look, since I've been following the boxing end of YouTuber stuff, you have yet to have one of these things wrong. So
Yeah,
fair play.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You know what I do though? I fucking call people and I talk to people.
yeah,
And I get on the phone
Yeah.
with people and I talk to people. Like that's kind of what you have to do. Like you have to have sources. And look, hey, there's been times where, sources lied to me. I mean, it happens. But then they're no longer a credible person.
yeah. Gotcha. So all
Absolutely.
right, so all right, guys. Right now, July 30th, does Social Glove 2 happen with Gib versus Austin as the main event?
No, I don't I really, if you ask me, I say no. I say no.
Please tell me, Keem, that you think the event will happen with another main event or Austin getting another. Please tell me I didn't just waste all this money.
I mean, look, I already thought that there was a possibility that this event might get canceled just because of low ticket sales and low
Man,
pay-per-view sales. You got to understand, this is Social Gloves too, all right? There are investors. People are investing a ton of money to rent the stadium, to do all this stuff, and it doesn't seem like there's a lot of hype. And if this main event gets canceled, then the investors have to know that they are taking a giant loss. How are they going to come out on top? There's no way. Doesn't it make sense to just cancel the event or postpone it?
yeah, especially at Staples Center. Like these are big venues where you have to, pay a lot to host it. So yeah, absolutely. If this was like a 2,000 seat, maybe 5,000 seat, okay, that might be a little bit different. But for Staples Center,
Where's the promotion for this event? Where is it? Like Where is Austin McBroom and Gibb going back and forth? And like, dude, like compare a guy like Austin McBroom to Jake Paul. Like, there's no
Hmm.
comparison. There's none. Like, he's not promoting his event. Like, I don't, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, see,
You know,
if you remember King, just like what last month he did the family fest, little carnival, whatever. So like he hasn't even focused 100% on this fight. He's been doing other stuff.
yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me at all. Look, at the end of the day, YouTubers being boxers, like people joke, like YouTubers will never be on the same skill as boxers. Okay, fine, I'll give it to you. But you know what YouTubers are good at? Creating content. And when you
Yeah,
have YouTubers that are have a boxing match coming up and they're not creating content around it, they're not promoting their fight, something's something's wrong. Like that's what you're supposed to be good at. Like that is your skill.
I agree. That's the one thing I give for YouTubers. I mean, YouTube boxing, they have their own fan, their own crowd, they have their own audience, and the fans support it. But you're right. Like if you can get your fan base or people aside for it, you gotta meet them halfway.
You know, the only thing I can think of, and I'm sure other people have thought of this as well, is what if there's the possibility that this whole Gibbs story and Austin story is fake and that this is a way to bring up hype? Sure, could happen. You know, Team Gibb and Team Austin could agree, like, this is how we're going to promote the event, but I don't know. I don't know. It's a storyline. We're talking about it, aren't we?
That
That's
does
true.
that that doesn't sound like something that Liam would allow Gibb to do. He's a very like honest guy, and they're generally an honest team. But it is the most like that press conference they had, was it last week or the week before? No real hype around that. No, there nothing really
No.
got going there. This is way bigger than that was, and all Austin had to
Exactly.
do was put out a video on his Instagram page from his car.
Exactly. All right, gentlemen, I'm going to take off. Thanks.
All right, King. Thanks for stopping by. So yeah, I mean, it's crazy, So shout out to Pop, Saw Papi, Donna, and Halal Ham sticking by. I was not expecting this to be happening. The possibility Give versus Austin McBroom. Because the one thing about YouTube boxing, man, there might be like crate clash, wasn't much promotion, whatever, but the fight week, that's when it hits you. That's when you start getting hype. And I ain't gonna lie, just the past 24 hours, I've been watching uh Adam Salah's new video, Lamp Broom. I started getting a little bit of hype. When fight week is different. And I'm starting to get excited. And when I saw this, I was like, damn. And then now found there's a brain injury. Yeah, man, like, you can't play boxing. Shit gets real in YouTube boxing.
Did you watch the Kingpin boxing event?
No, I was at work. I saw the main event when that 52-year-old man got knocked out. I saw the main event. And then he called out Gibb and was it Bryce Hall?
Yeah. He
Yeah,
did. He did call them out.
yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, like
hmm
I actually generally thought that event was like so entertaining, and I think that is I don't know, as in like I feel like that there was like it wasn't supposed to be like a boxing event, but
yeah.
more like I don't know, I enjoyed it a lot. I don't know why I just really enjoyed it.
Well, this is what Donna will attest to. That there's UFC, Bellator, the big events. But it's also smaller companies, like smaller regional
Yeah,
companies. So like
for
not
sure.
every yeah. So like Kingpin, I think it was like 2,500 seats. I mean, 2,000, 2,500 seats. That's fine.
Mhm.
Like like again, you have to get. There's one thing about YouTube boxing, which I'll talk about with the championships that was announced earlier this week. There's still weight divisions that don't have a pool of talent yet. Like Keemstar, everybody's fighting at 180 and 175. So the dude, Ed Matthews, yeah, sure, let him join the pool. He had to beat up an old man to do it, but hey, you need a stage, and he did what he needed to do. I know the El Brook match, her death fight being having a replacement, whatever, kind of took a little bit of buzz off that fight, but she won. She had some pro boxers train her. So put it this way, there's a lane for there's a lane for Kingpin and Showstar, or even smaller events and stuff like that. So I didn't buy it, but people enjoy Kingpin. Hell yeah, I can tell by the timeline. Everybody was watching. Gib, I think KSI, yeah, KSI was watching it. So yeah, it's definitely a market for it.
For sure. And I thought it looked kind of cool. Like, everyone on the bottom standing and looking up on the stage. It was kind of an interesting way to put an event like that together. I know that Indigo is going to host Cage Warriors on Friday as the kind of the pre-event for UFC in London, and I think they organize it differently and put the cage in the middle. And I thought it was a bit of fun. Like, it was. I didn't watch it really as it was happening. Like, I didn't buy the pay-per-view because I had a family.
My bad. Accidentally me and you by accident. I'm sorry.
No, it's cool. But one of our other reporters was there, and he said it was good. He said it was a bit of fun, and Elle Brooke did fantastically promoting it. Obviously, she didn't look great in the ring, but I'm sure she'll improve. She's got a good coach behind her, and yeah, I thought. And then obviously, yeah, poor El Simple Simon, man, he got he got smoked.
Man, he was literally walking
Yo,
to the punch. He was literally walking to the punches.
and my boy Paddy Murphy, I hear he's a good guy. He's from near enough where I'm from. A couple of my friends know him, and I hear he's a nice guy. But when you're that heavy, let me tell you, I'm a heavier guy myself. You just Ham, you know this, right? You're like we're all Papi as well. We're heavier guys. You go shirtless, bro. You just pop the shirt.
Oh shit!
Like you just you go with no shirt off. You just take the hit. Like I don't understand why he dressed the way he dressed.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to me.
You know why? You know why? Well, I'm talking about him.
That's the if that's true. If he really said, "I'm gonna
No,
have
man,
my
it's
ass
not
hang
that,
out,"
man. No. No, it's just confidence in it,
Rick Ross. Rick Ross, the same thing.
yeah, but everyone's different, you know what I mean? Yeah, everyone's different,
but
but yeah.
you've made a good point there about confidence. It's like if you've trained properly, and yeah, it's like okay, so body like look at like Andy Ruiz or something. Like he has no problem with popping his shirt and going out and fighting anytime because he knows that he's got the ability in there to compete with these guys who have shredded physiques. It's like if you train properly, you know what your body is capable of, and you won't mind doing it. It looks so bad. I don't know what he was thinking, and it was just a complete disaster for him. And then he lost as well. I don't know, did he get stopped or did he go the distance?
Oh, I
I
know.
can't
I was at
remember.
work. Yeah, I was at work. Yo,
But
question for Saul. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if he went the distance, then absolutely fair play to him because that's a tough.
I went to distance. Yeah.
Yeah, then that's fair play to him. Like he's for a guy like that. Like that's a good athletic endeavor to do. What was it, 2 minutes? That's a heavy duty bit of work in front of a big crowd like that. Fair play to him, but Jesus Christ, he needs to change the outfit next time.
Yo, Saul Pop, I got a question, man. Have you punched fighters on 5-0 on Misfits?
Yeah, definitely.
You you have so you
I'm
have
sure.
Fousey.
It'll be 5-0. Fousey's
All right,
working hard. He's looking good, man.
I think what's for speakers who's here? What's your prediction for Misfits? Now, as we can see, cars could change. Cars started to change, but right now, who you guys have predictions for the whole entire Misfits event?
I think KSA is gonna win, and Sensei is gonna win. Fousey is gonna win. Dean's gonna win. I am gonna win. Summer Hide's gonna win. Yeah, they all have to punch from it, man. We're all gonna win.
Hey, it's secret that have punch takeover. You know what?
Yeah.
You know, let's talk about the Tampa versus Blueface. That fight might be in jeopardy depending on how Social Gloves 2 is, because Blueface is supposed to fight on Social Glove 2 and Misfits. If they delay this, Blueface will have to make a decision, either fight on Misfits or Social Gloves 2.
I would have to imagine that this is part of the reason Blueface did this. was he probably knew there's a chance something goes wrong. Obviously, there was a lot of stuff. Social gloves happened last year, but there was a lot of controversy around it. I'm sure he was kind of preparing himself for the possibility that it gets to fight week and he hears he's not going to get paid, so he's going to have to pull out, or something happens, or like Nick Young is a he's obviously not looking great at the moment in the training videos and stuff. Maybe he doesn't end up fighting, whatever. I would imagine that Blueface was preparing himself for the possibility that this didn't happen, and that's why he took the other fight in 3 weeks.
I think his manager said, "Yeah, you want to fight some YouTubers," and he said, "Yeah." Well, first he said, "You want to fight Nick Young?" Yeah, you want to fight YouTuber in August? Yeah, because that's what. Because if you see, I gotta get Mams Taylor on because I want to know how that happened. I want to know, did they sign Blueface knowing that he was supposed to fight on Social Wells, or did it come after? And again, we all know Temper. If it was me, I would have Blueface do a whole camp for Temper, but he's gonna fight, you know, allegedly July 30th, and then turn around and fight Temper. Like, in my opinion, he needs a full count for Temper. And but
It seems to me like the Social Gloves fight would be an exhibition, this 2-minute rounds, maybe 4 or 5 2-minute rounds, which would be essentially like a sparring session for Blueface, and particularly if Nick Young is not messing in those videos, then it really wouldn't be particularly competitive, and Blueface can get some rounds in, get some work in, get another experience in front of a live crowd, and then he can go in against Temper. It's kind of in the middle of the camp. He does this thing, kind of like how Thor Bjornsson would do that before he fought Eddie Hall. He would do these exhibition fights against, like, it was different with Thor. He was fighting, better people who were much better than him and much better than Eddie, who would, move around with him a bit and let him get the rounds in. But maybe Blueface sees this as like a possibility to get back in there. Obviously, he kind of froze up a little bit in front of the crowd the last time when he fought Cain Trujillo. So maybe he fancied another time in front of the lights before actually taking on someone who might challenge him.
But my thing is, I think everybody can attest that we think Blueface gonna win. Well, if he wins and breaks his hand, busts his hand, have a real bad cut on his face, like, even if he wins, it's possible he still could get pulled, from the misfit. So that's why, whenever I get Mass Taylor on here, I'm gonna ask him, like, do you have a replacement fighter in case Blueface cannot make it to misfits?
I don't. I have to think that Misfits is his priority. I would imagine, like, it's just the much
Well, no,
bigger
no, no,
show.
no. I'm saying, like, if Social Club 2 happens on July 30th and he wins, but if he busts open his hand,
Oh
he breaks his
yes.
hand, if he has a bad cut on his face, even broken, you see what I'm saying? Like, do they have a replacement
Mm.
fighter? Because if you look on how that card is stacked, that's a co-main event. That's a pretty big fight.
It's a massive fight.
Temper, yeah, Temper
The
versus
only thing
Blueface.
is that like, luckily, not luckily, I suppose, this is by design. Mams is a good promoter, and they've put together a strong enough card that it probably won't change things too much if he decides to if Blueface pulls out. You still got a lot of really, really good fights on there to make that an interesting card.
But does he get replacement, or does he? Because Memphis is going to be multiple misfits. There's even rumored there's going to be one in October right here. Well, there's a rumored social media event coming in October in the Florida. I think it's Hollywood, Florida, Miami, Florida. I don't know if that's Misfits. I don't know if it's somewhere else. But, like, that's what's going to ask him. Like, does he get a replacement for Temper, or does he hold off Temper for the next Misfits card?
That's a great question. You got to get Mams back on here, bro, and
I am. I am.
ask.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to do it next week. Since now, man, it's so crazy, man. Like this week, I see. You know what? Next week, July 30th, Social Wheels 2. The next week, Jake versus Hasim. I forgot his name. You know what I'm talking about. Rodman Jr. And then weeks after that, Misfits 1. By the end of the year, maybe Logan make his return. But I was just getting hyped. I'm like, yo, this end of the year is gonna be pretty lit. And then boom. Jake Tommy being called off, Jake versus Gibb. Another thing, like, with Gibb's brain injury, he might be out for a while. Like, we don't know how serious it is. We hope it ain't. We hope it just, takes time to heal. But you're right, Don. Like, this could take a minute because after Jake Paul, Gibb is the most experienced fighter. Like this will be like his fifth fight, if I'm not mistaken. Like Gibb's been putting in some years into this.
Interesting. I don't know how interesting this is, but a little factoid. Gibb is two interesting statistics about Gibb. He is the only opponent Jake Paul has faced who boxed at any level prior to fighting him. He
Yep.
had two white collar fights, which obviously Woodley and Askren had fought in MMA, but not boxing. Really,
Yeah.
not boxing in Askren's case. And then he also is the only opponent of Jake Paul's who went and fought again and won.
Yeah. That's real. That's true because Deji has since fought, but he hasn't won. All right, I'm gonna let some people come in. I'm gonna do this tutorial for like 20 more minutes. I want to thank everybody who stopped by. So I'm gonna let, if you want to be a speaker, I request a chat for like 10, 15 minutes. And let's talk about what's going on in this crazy world of YouTube boxing. Where you guys, how you guys think Social Gloves 2 is gonna be?
Are you talking to me? I'm so sorry. I just
Go, yeah,
unmuted it. You hear me good?
yeah, we can hear you.
Awesome. So, what was the question you asked me, brother?
Anything. What's your thoughts on Jake versus Steve
Anything.
Robin Jr.? Yeah, what do you think on Gibb versus McBroom? What do you think of
Gotcha.
Misfits?
Well,
Everything.
my boy Ham just bounced, and it looks like Salt Papi bounced. I was gonna, I guess, start off talking to them a little bit. I felt kind of bad. All this craziness happened right at the start of their,
I
dedicated
know,
interview, and
I
it
know,
sucked.
cause
I
I
think
was
you should
gonna do
probably bring
like
them back on at some point if you get an opportunity. I mean,
I was
maybe if
going
you're
to
down for
like
it.
I was going to interview him like, cause again, people don't know the whole thing, but boom, it's giving Austin shit,
Yeah.
and it was developing going through. But
Yeah.
if you know Saul Poppy, he's a quiet guy as well.
I mean, and they're both positive people. I don't imagine they're going
Yeah,
to take it to heart. They understand. But I mean, in regards to Social Gloves too, summarize it all up. My idea and opinions on that whole deal is if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I think if it works out, then it's very possible that, like they were saying, this could have been some type of promotional idea. Like, Gibbs known for powering through and, trying to work hard. So maybe that him getting onto this fight, despite all this talk today, might be like part of that. I don't think that's what it is, though. I don't think there's any level of staged in any of the community at the moment, but that's just me. Uh, in regards to Salt Poppy and this event, I mean, we're gonna see a Happy Punch 5-0, no questions asked. So I mean, like,
there you
there's nothing to say about that. I mean, like, the only fight I have that it's kind of debatable in my head is Fousey and Deji, and I think that's just because I have a little bit of a soft spot for Deji. So if I put my bias aside, I'm still standing on that Happy Punch 5-0. With Ham, I mean, I'm going to get an opportunity to talk to him some more. I'm interviewing him at some point. I was going to hopefully remind him of that during this, but he just bounced on us. So, I'll just have to do that on like Snap or something. But I mean, I'm excited to see all of these people go forward. I mean, I've been keeping up with, Donna Corby's stuff. And so, thankfully, whenever I'm not paying much attention on stuff, I just have to click on his account and I'm updated in like 10 seconds. And same with Happy Punch Promo. So, I mean, no big deal. If I want to go camping again, I'm good. And I just pop back in, get 10 minutes of Twitter, and I'm all good. So I'm just excited to see what happens. I'm probably going to take another couple days to grind out and do what I'm doing, IRL, and then I'll hop back on here and see how this all pans out soon. I got no real questions, though. I think y'all answered everything. This was a good one.
That was very kind of you, Andrew.
Hey, bro, when you're that handsome, I got to say something.
there you go. But
Yo,
any other speak? Oh, go ahead, Donna.
I think there's a possibility not only of a 5-0 for Happy Punch, which I think is the likelihood. I don't know if there's betting odds yet, but I would have to think that you wouldn't get great odds on a 5-fight accumulator with all those guys. I think Sam should take care of
Thompson.
Thompson. I think Salt Pappy should take care of Worski. Unfortunately for Andy, who seems like a good guy. Dean should
Right.
take care of Evil Hero. I think Sensei and Kenny's a very, very good fight, and I think Fousey is, I've said it before, the most dangerous opponent that Deji has faced. I know he faced Jake, but that was with headgear on and everything, and
Yeah.
I think that without headgear on and if it's 10-ounce gloves, Fousey, from what I hear in the gym as well, he hits incredibly hard, and
Yeah.
I hear he might be the hardest hitter in YouTube boxing. So it
I
could
mean,
be
I
a
Wait,
think
fight that
that.
gets.
Donna, you think
Yeah,
Fousey's Alex Wasabi?
sorry.
Do you think Fousey is better than Alex Wasabi?
Better, I don't know. I think Alex Wasabi's pretty good technically, but I think harder hitting, no doubt.
Yeah.
And he's definitely. I've been told that he might be the hardest hitting YouTube boxer from people who have been in the ring with some very good YouTube boxers. So yeah, he's definitely a dangerous guy at this level with no headgear and the 10-ounce gloves.
Yeah. I mean, I think that Huppy Punch 5-0 doesn't just happen. I think we're seeing spot like style points with all of them. I mean, all these fighters are like either very entertaining or from what we've seen of them recently. I mean, there's gonna be like, I mean, it's not just gonna be wins. These are gonna be good wins. I mean, like you're putting a. I don't even think this is like there's no one in the ring for competition yet. No hats in besides Happy Punch. But I mean, the out of all the influencer boxing promotions, if there even is any other ones, I mean, you guys will have the best record. And I think that if there even if another one pops up, I mean, who's going to top 5-0 in one night? I mean, this is going to be a very big night, and not just then, but what happens with the future of it. I mean, with all this stuff with Gibb and this Austin McBroom card, I mean, we could see a lot of stuff change when it comes to like setups down the line. And I think I'm talking about a lot about Happy Punch specifically, but I mean that's where we're at right now. So I mean naturally that's going to come up. I mean I think it'll be phenomenal, dude. I mean I'm excited for it. I got pretty much no more words besides that. I mean that's just it's going to be good. In regards to Gibb, I will say this: y'all were saying something about Gibb and KSI, and is that possible? It's been on a KSI event in the past where really good friends and even twins have actually fought each other. I think, like you said, KSI and Gibb both have enough respect for the sport to do it down the line. I don't think it necessarily happens soon, but I do think it's very possible. I'm not going to say I think it happens, but I do think it's not, something out of the possibility. And I
The
think, it's not something to just throw off to the side and think doesn't happen.
the issue people forget with KSI is that KSI is not particularly interested in boxing like long term. He obviously he's going
Yeah.
to fight Alex on August 27th. He wants to do one more before the end of the year, and then he wants to fight Jake. And the plan was always to just fight Jake and it be over. He
Yeah, I mean,
he
he's
never
got to
really
go.
wanted to fight Alex. He never really wanted to fight whoever he'll fight at the end of the year, if it's McBroom or
Right.
maybe Gibb beats McBroom and they do that. But he was never like super interested. Like obviously he trains unbelievably hard, probably the hardest trainer in YouTube boxing. But in
Yeah.
terms of interest in like doing it, like Gibbs' interest is way higher in terms of like wanting to fight all the time. Jake's obviously way higher, but I think that JJ is obviously more motivated and particularly
Right.
thinks that he can and will beat you know Jake when he gets that chance. So I think fantasy matchups and stuff for JJ are less interesting because I don't think he'll do them unless they're particularly big events or anything. And I just don't know that him versus Gibb would be worth like I don't
Yeah,
think
I
it would be
mean,
worth it to him.
and that's why I said I don't think it happens. My word is that I think it's not out of the possibility. It purely depends on what happens during the upcoming, few fights and what happens, during the line. Now, I don't think, because I don't think KSI pulls the Conor McGregor where he's the fat cat in the chair continuing to fight after he's achieved his goals. He's not going to do that. He likes music. He's got so many other things that he does. He's going to get this shit done and then he's going to move on. And that's just how it is. And I think we'll also see that possibly from, and dare I say, Jake Paul when he achieves what he's got to achieve, which I don't even know where that limit stops. I mean, like, hey, that's kind of funny. I'm looking at the No Limits guy right now. As I said, no limit, but you know what I mean. Uh, it's just kind of funny. I mean, there really is. I mean, there. I don't know where that cap ends, but you know how it goes. I mean, he's gonna get what he needs to get done, and and then they're gonna bounce, and that's what's great about it. They're gonna be entertaining, and then they're gonna move on. I mean, you're spot on. I got nothing else to say. You summed my words up for me.
Yeah, to me, that's what makes this so exciting because with let's just pick a name and who just Canelo. Canelo lost earlier this year. We know he's gonna have plenty more years of fighting. versus a Anthony Joshua, his upcoming fight. If he lose, there's a very high possibility he just might retire. So like when it's like oh, this might be the last one, it makes it more interesting. That's why I think with all of these influencers, because again, if Jake gets demolished, like get fucked up real bad, that could be his last fight, and that's what is kind of fun. Like or even in UFC, okay, Jorge Masvidal, he's gonna fight for a couple more years. He might still lose, but this is bread and butter. Versus some people who are like, okay, this might be the last one. It makes it more, must watch.
Yeah, I've just got a couple of things to say. Um, Regarding Gibb, whatever happens, I just hope that he's safe and well mentally, and that whatever happens doesn't get into his head.
Yeah, I mean, head injuries is no joke. And again, Gil has some years on this. After Jake Paul, he's the most experienced. He has the most fights. He has, if I'm not mistaken, he was the first YouTuber to be in the gym with Fidel. So I think he was doing it since 2017. So he's been doing this for much longer, and all that mileage and damage just adds up. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's what they say. You can't play boxing. This shit's real. Like we are starting
yeah,
to, we're starting to see the injuries and all that. The damage will start to, add up.
yeah. And then secondly, how wonderful is it that Amanda Serrano was actually able to purchase a house in cash because of what she's managed to do under Most Valuable Promotions?
Absolutely. I mean, and it's funny because there's an old tweet of Amanda, and I think old tweets get retweeted on the timeline. I think she was like talking bad about like Jake or influencer boxing, and then now years later, she's a millionaire because of Jake Paul and YouTube boxing. Like it's pretty funny.
But she met him on his pro debut, and I think it was along the lines of she didn't really understand why they were doing it,
Yeah,
but obviously she understands now why, and everything's worked out the way it has. But I'm just so happy that she's actually getting the recognition as well.
absolutely. And again, she's having a fight. It is funny how like Jake versus Asim is just it isn't a main event because it's the big draw. But like yeah, she was just in MSG not too long ago. Creating history.
Yeah, I'm also looking forward to the Brandon Lee fight on that card as well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's gonna be a good card for the Jake. August 6th. But man, it's just all right. Let's talk about hype. Are you guys excited for Drake's fight? I
100%.
personally,
This
Yeah.
shit is
I
lightning, dude. Of course I'm
Fight of the
I
excited.
year.
I personally think they
I
should
have a question.
postpone it because with these weeks, yeah, with these, hold on, with just these weeks of promotion doesn't really give that much. But it was for me because I know how petty boxing is, and because the zone versus Showtime, I would love if Jake event was the same day as KSI because we know if you know boxing, the zone Showtime don't like each other. I would love the pettiness because both of those cards are pay per views. It'd been more time to have to me the promotion seems
Yeah,
rushed.
yeah, but you've also got to think if you've paid hiring fees for MSG, that ain't going to be cheap.
Agreed,
So
but
why should they cancel it and do it on a different date
cause,
when
cause,
another date might
To
not be
promote
available?
the event, build more
because
buzz.
it, yeah, it's promote the event, build my buzz. But my next question: does this event sell out at Madison Square Garden?
No, definitely
I,
not.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine it'll sell out. It'll sell very, very well. And what's pretty common for boxing in America is that boxing, pro wrestling, any of these combat sports, and sports in general, really, is that people will the tickets will go on like StubHub at like a super cheap price come Thursday or Friday with the fight on Saturday. So I reckon there'll probably be anywhere between 12 and 15,000 people there, which will be a decent crowd. And in MSG, that'll look pretty good on camera. And also, yeah, it's super expensive to hire out somewhere like MSG. Also, there's an issue with venues after the pandemic; they're like really backed up. So I'd imagine a primo like Saturday night at any one of these big arenas is difficult to come by. And yeah,
Yeah,
MSG,
that's what I mean.
like Chrissy was saying, MSG is difficult to book out, and also it's particularly pricey to broadcast from Madison Square Garden. That's an extra cost over the last few years. I don't know if they've changed that in the pandemic time or anything, but I know that that was a big reason why WWE, if you notice, when they go to New York, they go to the Barclays Center, even though their history is in Madison Square Garden, because the broadcasting fees are much cheaper broadcasting from Barclays Center than from MSG, which would be another factor. And I'd imagine this will be another one. Look, Jake, I think not Jake and Showtime will probably take a loss, I would imagine, on this event, or at least take a little hit, and then things will open up for them again, with Nate Diaz being available, with JJ possibly becoming a legitimized opponent by next year. So that'd be two massive fights that would do huge numbers and would make all that money back. And look, he could fight Nate at the end of the year. He could fight JJ next summer to kind of keep himself warm. And then you never know, maybe something with Connor arises, God knows, and you'd have, monumental fights that would make Jake and Showtime or whoever his broadcaster is, a lot of money. And I think they just want to get this one kind of out of the way, get him a legitimate boxer. And by the way, like,
Right.
Rahman Jr. is doing a good job promoting it too.
I was
He's
gonna
trying
Yeah,
his best.
I was just
yeah.
gonna say quickly, it's like Hasim Rahman Jr. just he kind of attracts like a different demographic that Jake Paul's audience hasn't seen before, especially with his dad. Like just like an older, like more like dedicated boxing fans. Like there's a lot of people that I know personally who are tuning into this fight who didn't really care about the Tommy fight. So I don't think it's as big of a drop. I think it's just like the numbers like on Hasim's like social media kind of doesn't. I think they're not too good. So I think that's kind of what people see.
It's it's
No,
a
no.
different kind of draw, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. My whole thing was they should have again. If this fight happened between the two, that was fine. Push it back on a small arena, like I said, maybe a Barclay or maybe something small. But MSG, like again, it costs money. It's a legendary place, but like if he goes there and it's half empty, it ain't gonna look good. Because Showtime took two losses with Jake. Let's bring it. Again, this YouTube boxing, but gotta be real. Him versus Woodley was a loss per view wise. This is gonna be a loss venue wise because 18,000 people was at Jake versus Woodley, so venue sales was good to loss with per view. If this is another per view loss and venue sales, hey, because you can't just bank on Jake versus Nate.
Is Jake confirmed for more fights with Showtime, or is this just a one-time contract?
We don't know.
Gotcha.
I
And
just
and,
think
and again, depending on how this fight is, again, Showtime is not going to take that many losses, especially now with more YouTubers coming out. I don't think Logan will join, but they threw the bag at him. Who knows? Like it's and again, I'm happy for Hasim. I'm very happy for the opportunity to bag. But yeah, I want to see how the ticket sales look. I want to see how the pay per view sales look because. And again, this is more for Jake because I think he's happy. If he wins, he wins. If he lose, hey, he may event Madison Square Garden. Like he overachieved. But business wise, if this is two losses for Jake, they might put him on like Fox or Showtime, just the cable.
Yeah, I don't think we should overlook though. Like, let's not overlook, Jake's opponent's value to this fight. Tommy did not have quite the same level of hardcore boxing fan base as this guy does, because it's even if Jake wins or loses, like you said, and like that really handsome drama alert host said earlier. I mean, dude, like he's an entertainer, and that's what they do. And he's going to be in front of a lot more traditional boxing fans than he usually is. And so the way I see it is he has the opportunity to win over some of these people. And typically that doesn't happen when you're playing the heel, but he has the opportunity, even if this is a half full arena, even if this is a quarter full arena. He's going to have, that many more traditional boxing fans, hopefully in his corner, win or lose, and especially if he wins. And kind of like Mo said, I mean, he knows people who are personally tuning in. I also know people who are personally tuning into this fight who don't even know Jake Paul. And it's like, at the end of the day, I mean, this is what we want. This is what, I imagine the Happy Punch goal is, well down the line, is to integrate with these people and to really make something solid that's gonna last. I keep quoting Keem but he's saying all the right things. I mean, it's like down the line he was once saying, what did he want Drama Alert to be when he's gone? And it's the same thing with Happy Punch. I imagine the same vision is something solid that's still there later on. And so the way I see it is, I mean, this is Jake Paul's opportunity to set that path down.
You see, I've got this feeling that, I mean, Espinoza has said a few times that he doesn't want Jake to go with anyone else, which is kind of weird. But I've got a feeling that if he is even at least competitive for part of the fight, that his Showtime deal will be extended.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. King's back. What's good? What's good, King?
I just popped back in. Here's the one thing, though. Jake Paul does have knockout power, right?
Yeah.
We all agreeing with that? He has some crazy
Absolutely.
strength.
Especially
I
when
say
he
so.
knocked him out at round 6. So he knockout pair carries out through the fight.
Yeah.
I think Jake Paul is definitely getting outboxed in this fight, 100%. But can he get the
I do.
knockout?
I mean, he's been building that. I mean, they said it. I mean, if you watch Wade's video on it, it sums it up perfectly. They've been building that upper body and that knockout power. But that was for Tommy Fury. My question is, does that translate just as well to this new opponent, or does that get shut back down and it ultimately become who's the better boxer? And that's what I think happens. My thing is, like you said, if it doesn't happen, we're going to see something new in Jake. And I'm not going to say exactly, I'm not going to throw out the whole, it might be rigged kind of deal thing like some people want to believe, but I'm not against thinking that's possible either. It's just ultimately I need to watch this fight. And that's pretty much how I feel about that.
Wait,
I was
Keem,
gonna
why do you
say
think
that.
it's rigged again? I missed it earlier, what you said about that.
I never said it was rigged. What?
No,
Not
you were saying.
rigged, like where
Oh,
people were
sorry.
saying that it's almost like movie like almost like what's the word I was looking for? You said it earlier, but it was just basically like it seems unreal, and that's what people are gonna think if he just goes in and ultimately I mean he'll be about the same strength as this other guy. So I mean if he goes and just outboxes the dude, I mean it's gonna be really good looking for Jake, or it's gonna be like every other fight where people continue to doubt him.
What I said is this: if I had to place money on this fight, I would say that Jake Paul is going to win, because just like that's the storyline. Like he is going to have to beat this guy. Like
That's right.
that's what's going on. Is Jake's beating everyone, right? This is not how Jake Paul goes down, is by losing to his old sparring partner. Like that's just not how the story is written, right?
Yeah.
So I'm putting money on Jake winning. But if I look at this without any money on it, I'm saying Jake Paul's losing. Like just look based on it, it's like Jake Paul cannot beat this kid. There's no fucking way. So it's like it's almost like we're living like in a simulation, right? Not to get too crazy with it. Not to get too crazy with it. But it's like we're living in a fucking simulation, because on paper, if you're just looking at everything and you're being real, like 100% authentic, Jake Paul is not winning this fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, Keem, a lot of people said
I got
exactly the same
Hassan
about
through his
Tyron.
eyes.
I'm sorry, too many people were talking at once. Go ahead, Christine.
I said so many people said exactly the same about Tyron Woodley, though, in the first fight, that he had the power to knock Jake out and the ability to knock Jake out, and it never happened.
Well, he did fly off the ropes. Like the ropes saved Jake.
Yeah, but he still
Agreed.
wasn't on the floor.
He would have if it wasn't for the ropes, though.
Definitely would have been on the floor.
Yeah. But again, the difference between Woodley and Rodman is a professional heavyweight boxer. Like again, when I had Hassan's uncle, I said Hassan has forgot more about boxing than Jake has learned about boxing between this period. Boxing is literally in his blood on paper. But again, Jake's whole team didn't want him to take this fight. Maybe Jake sees something that we don't.
Jake shouldn't win this fight, but I still think he's going to win. But he really shouldn't win this fight. This is the fight that Jake Paul should lose, but I still think he's winning. If that makes any fucking sense to anyone here, I don't know how, but I'm trying to make sense. Like, it
Well,
just.
yeah, that is a saying. Some people say my heart says one thing, but my brain says another thing. Yeah, that happens all the time when
You
people have
messed up.
traditions.
Keem saying that's going to end up on 2 trailers for his next fight now, just because he said that just now. That exact sentence is getting recorded and put on multiple trailers like every other time.
Yeah, maybe.
Keem, did you think that Jake would beat Tommy if that fight actually happened, or did you think Tommy would beat Jake because of his experience?
No, I think Jake Paul was beating Tommy Fury from the very beginning, before the first fight was canceled, and for the second fight, Jake was always going to beat Tommy Fury.
Thanks for your honesty. Not many people are like that.
The difference with Jake and Tommy is that we've seen a lot of things Tommy does that Jake could take advantage of, whereas it's more difficult to see that with Raman. Like, he's a lot bigger. You'd struggle to think Jake, like, it's a weird fight in the sense of, like, I just can't see Jake knocking him out. That seems way out there. And that also seems like the only way he would win. So it really is fascinating in that regard. But yeah, with Tommy, there, like, I think Keem would probably agree that there were a lot of ways you could see Jake winning it. Tommy clearly has something that stops him from performing on the big stage. He wasn't able to stop the fella in Wembley a couple of months ago. He wasn't able to stop Anthony Taylor, even though he was about 3 foot taller than him and had a million more boxing matches. And yeah, I think Jake probably would have beat Tommy, but Bradman is a really, really, really tough fight.
But let's be honest, Tommy never gives you the impression that he's hungry, right? That he's
Agreed.
really hungry, that he really wants it. Like, you never get that impression from Tommy Fury. You always get that from Jake Paul. You can see it. You can see it.
Put this way, Jake has been trying to prove himself from day one when he fought Deji. Tommy's his literally Tommy Fury's older brother is a heavyweight champion of the world. He's coming from a fighting family. He hasn't proved himself as much as Jake. Jake has, and that's why now Tommy Fury, man, when Tommy Fury made that tweet when Jake said I'll fight you in the UK, and Tommy said I want to fight you for 500K, that really backfired on Tommy. So many people have been like, dog, who? They're like, dog, your brother's a heavyweight champion. You're nobody. You're less than a Fury. We haven't done nothing in boxing. It's kind of like Jake's hungry to prove people like, yo, I'm credible in boxing. I want to show you guys. For Tommy, he just doesn't have the hunger.
Yeah, Donor, have you seen who's in camp with Jake?
No, I haven't. I've been slacking in that regard. Maybe Keem knows. Keem's got a bit of. He seems to have a bit more knowledge on this stuff than I do.
I'll send you a message if Keem doesn't.
Well, guys, thank you for stopping by and do this tour space. Keem, I know you have a resource, man. I would love to talk to BJ Flores, who is Jake's head coach. I sent a message. I ain't getting no response back, but I would love to see BJ on here on tour space. I know the fans will love. Oh, Keem left. Maybe he's talking to BJ Flores right now. But yeah, guys, I gotta head out. Thank you for stopping by.
Yeah,
Today
Fight
was
Lounge. Before you end the space, I'd love to. Oh, Keem's already gone, but I'd
yeah,
love to
yeah.
that. I would love to put on a bet with Keem that on KSI versus Alex Wasabi, August 27th, that if KSI wins, I will put Keemstar and Head Punch Promotions posters in my entire town. It's a big town, and it's a really big town. I'll put thousands of posters all over, and I'll make people subscribe to Drama All at Happy Punch and every single channel, Elephant Talent, following on all social media if KSI wins. If KSI loses to Alex Wasabi, Keemstar will let me and Christian Mundo, the editor of Weight Concept, and Vidal Riley fight on the preliminary cards of Happy Punch Promotions. If he's interested, I'm down and it'll be amazing. And it's happening eventually. We are in talks and it's looking super strong. Vidal Ali, Weight Concepts editor versus Shannon Plick, Salt Poppies, and many more people's Awesome Moments Junior editor, which is me, myself, Organu. It'll be epic. So if he's down for the bet, I'm down for the bet. If he's not, it's awesome. It's happening anyways in 2023 on a really good, credible mainstream card, which I'm not allowed to right now put the information out about, but it'll be epic. Thank you so much, Fight Lounge, again for letting me speak on the Happy Punch promotion to this space. Have an awesome day. And I always love your space. You're an awesome host. And Donna, you're an awesome journalist, and you're always on the spot. You always speak about what has to be said, nothing more, nothing less. You also told Slim about pressing charges, and that's all you said, which was the main point in the last Twitter space. And you're awesome. Everyone here is awesome, and awesome community. And yes, have an awesome day.
Hey, bro, fight my dad. That man's a bitch. Sorry, bro.
All right. Well, like I said, next week is gonna be very interesting. I'm trying to get Hakeem Rottman's brother on. I had his uncle on a couple weeks ago. Um, Man, next time I do this tour space next week, we'll see the status of Gibb versus Austin. We'll see the status of Social Gloves too, because this fight was supposed to happen next Saturday. That's how close this event was. Next Saturday. So of course, follow me on IG and Twitter, Fight Lounge. I'm gonna keep you up to date. Thank you everybody for stopping by. Saw Papi, Halal Ham, King, of course. And again, make sure you follow the Happy Punch Twitter, Happy Punch IG. We're much more than just a media company. We are a media company, of course, but we have fighters. A couple people saw the exclusive hoodie I got, so we'll be having some merch soon. So make sure you're on task with Happy Punch. The best graphics design in the game, and yeah, we're just getting started. So again, if you want to hear this whole tour space, I'm gonna record this and upload it on my YouTube videos. Hoping to get Mans Taylor. Maybe we'll get KSI on here. I think Kim has some connections. So yeah, it's YouTube boxing season. I know, a lot of fights have been canceled or whatever, but it's still YouTube boxing season. So it's gonna be a good year. So
Yes,
peace out, you
sir.
guys.
Yes,
Peace
sir.
out.
Hey, see you, dog. Hey, it was good meeting you, Donna.
Oh, he left, but yeah, peace
It
out.
said he listened, and I was just telling him. I might not get a response, but it's okay.
Okay, yeah, peace out.
See you, dog.